Alright, what's up YouTube? I'm Fort here. Now, this might not be the most spectacular regional deck profile that we've done, but a lot of people on Facebook were asking for my list and to do a little tournament report and discussion on it. So, figured we would do that. I'm fine with this. So, played ABC Stun. Now this deck is pretty much a mirror copy of the deck that topped in Chile 2 weekends ago. A friend of mine sent me the list and said that I should play that. I didn't have a lot of time to play test last week, which was one of the downsides of the things. And going into this format, I figured a lot of people will be putting a lot of emphasis on Zoo still. Wasn't terribly wrong on my decision for the day. Just the matchups and the things I was dealt weren't necessarily good. We beat round 1, which was Zoo. Round 2 was Blue Eyes Invoked. Round 3 was the guy that went, I think he went X1, finished 8-1, 60 card Paleo. He opened up Grass is Greener on me and destroyed me. Round 4, I don't remember. Round 5, I don't remember what my second loss was. I remember we were I believe 4-2, round 5. Round 6, Yugioh happened, I believe. I just remember near the end of the day, my last round was against 60 card Inferno. Oh, I beat 50 card Paleo. I kind of sacked the guy to win. I also played a second Zoo player. I think my round 4 opponent was another Zoo player. Should be. And then 50 card Paleo. I would have been X2 going into round 8, but I played against Cyframes. I kind of just died to Cyframes. Oh, my second loss was to the ABC mirror. Yeah, my round 5 opponent was the ABC player that went X2. I played the mirror match. You guys will understand why this deck is just booty ass against it. And I actually misplayed round 9. I actually went Dragon Buster, and instead of just swinging through the 2 back row that the Inferno player had, I was stupid and did Dragon Buster discard instead of attacking, and I got Ghost Ogre punished for it. Pretty much threw away my invite because of that. Well, there was no guarantee, but I mean, when one of my tiebreakers is X2, the other one is X1, now you can dream. But anyway, this build is based off of the build from Chile. There's like 2 cards difference. I'll explain things. I can't remember the guy's name because my phone's dead at the moment. It'll all be in the description. I believe it's the Gadget player. It's always had a lot of luck in his ventures down in South America. So also kudos to South America. You know, Chile, those countries, you guys come up with some of the best stun decks in the game. I really appreciate that. Definitely gives me hope. So anyway, I'll explain some of the choices here from my perspective. I'm not taking credit for this list at all. Just my spin on the variation. So playing 7 monsters, 2 A's, 3 B's, and 2 C's. Much like any other stun variant, these will constantly search for these. These float into these. I actually have a little loop going. There was one game where I only had 2 A's. I would keep looping these back and forth. These will search for essentially anything you need. These, if you have this in your hand, you can search this off of the hanger. Actually, no, excuse me. It's if you have this in hand, you can grab B, equip C. When this dies, you can summon the A. I actually had a couple times where I would go B, equip the C, Ram, special summon, proceed to overlay into something like Rhapsody, depending on the situation, and be able to make the Dragon Buster on the next turn. But the whole premise is on this deck, if you're constantly playing Zoo all day long, you grind out Zoo. There's absolutely no reason why you would lose to Zoo. Your Paleo matchup, if it's not 60 card Paleo, you should be fine. It's not a matchup you should be terribly endangered with. And if you're playing against Infernoid, well, you just better hope that you're better than your opponent and they don't have the grass. It's not a very good way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not going to lie to you guys, but some days you just have to be prepared for that. So, 7 monsters, no Thrashers, no gadgets, no nothing. I do like the ratios. If I saw more of these, it would have sucked. Also, being able to see another monster. Round 9 might have won me my game. I actually resolved 2 card demise, 3 dualities, and I didn't see my last monster after I got ghost ogred. I just had to do fucking 1200 damage to my opponent. Couldn't resolve it, do anything. Spells, much like heroes, this and this are acting as additional monsters. Actually, something really cool with this is just that theory. Being able to resolve this to search for these. You essentially have rotas for any stage in the game, and being able to grind out your opponent, as I said, is very valuable in this matchup. Also playing the ABC mirror, I cried because I don't have as many resources as they do. That was such a bad metagame call. Just wow, but I didn't expect to play the ABC mirror. Spells 3 card demise. You should be resolving this every game. This card is so ridiculous. Being able, I actually top deck duality into card demise into a monster to kill my opponent. He was not happy. This card, so good for stun decks. So good. 3 duality. No other really big discussion point on this card. Yeah, you can't special summon. Yeah, you can't special summon. You know, it's all part of the... Yes, by the way, I know that your opponent does not take battle damage further for this card. We got the monster for the passive on the next turn to kill them, just to clarify that. So, duality, though, combined with this is very, very powerful. Just being able to sift for further resources. I think a lot of people tend to discount this card, especially when you're playing the deck as a stun access. It's a shame that I only played 2 Zoo, though. Well, that's what happens when a balance resolves. 1 Book of Moon. Nothing to really explain here. It's just another optional hand trap, or trap. Only 2 board wipes in the main deck. You can play the Dark Hole in the main if you want. No, there's no real reason. These 2 were good enough. You typically would board in the 3rd board wipe anyway. Traps. Granted, this is a stun-based engine. You do have to make sure that you are resolving essentially as much as you want to. Unlike barrier statues where you don't really give a fuck about your opponent, this deck doesn't have that luxury. So Solemn Strike and Warning are very important. Torrential, massive board wipe. Ring of Destruction, I'm indifferent about this card. This card's a massive potential blowout, but if you draw it late game, it really fucking sucks. You're trading your consistency for an early game blowout if you resolve it. Yes, you have dualities and card demise to get to it, but the game of Yu-Gi-Oh tends to go so fast that if you're locked in a grind game, this card is really terrible. So I'm still impartial to it. It's a good card, don't get me wrong, but that's how it goes. Alright, next up, Convulse. This card was actually MVP. Unlike shitty Ring of Destruction here, this thing is chainable at any stage in the game. I don't have to worry about life point requirements. I actually got into a really savage top decking war. This card won me a game against a Broad Bull attacking me directly. A very, very, very broken card. With the perks of playing a deck like this, though, we get access to the insane power of Skill Drain. Every time I drew this card, resolved it, there's only one scenario in which this card was bad, and that was the ABC Mirror. Though it did stall out and nearly win me game 2. In the end, though, 25 10 attack points wasn't good enough for the resolution. But still a very, 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 very good card. Once I feel like this card resolves, it's just a massive blowout to a lot of decks, especially Zoo. 3D Bear, no explanation needed for this card. This card is such, just, once it resolves against one of the key players in the format, you'll pretty much win. Use this against Zoo. Being able to just do this against Zoo and kill their monster puts you in such a good position. Next up, 1 Blackhorn Heaven. Now, one of the original changes that the one list was playing was Vanity's Emptiness. Actually, I was playing this over that Emptiness. This card really gives you a little bit more access than you would think. Yes, it is only 1 monster, but having just the ability to negate a key Zoo play, a key Xyz play, it's definitely not something to be overlooked. Triple Breakthrough Skill. I hate Zoo. There's nothing to really say about it. Actually, this was pretty good against a couple of Infernoid matchups, being able to Valor the essential effects that would kill you. I don't know how I would feel about this going forward, but for what it needed to do for this event, I think it was appropriate. Next up, the last 3 cards here. 1 Storming, 2 Mirror Force. I actually kind of wish I had a second Storming. This is terrible against the Infernoid matchup. Also, you have to understand when you're playing against Paleo, they will be able to chain off of your guy. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're looking at that matchup though. Standard 40 card variant. The only thing I might consider changing is the breakthroughs, but that's only to make certain matchups a little bit better. Token, 1 Rhapsody. You wouldn't think you go into this extra deck a lot, but you really do. 1 Rap, not much. Anything to explain here? ABCs, Zoo, Infernoids, Dweller. There was a lot of Burning Abyss running around at the event, but this checks anything graveyard. Yugioh, massive power card. Who doesn't love just being able to discard and get more resources? Gaga Samurai never made it, but OTK potential. More Infernoid hate. Diamond Dire, there's 1 matchup. 1. I wish I had a second Diamond Dire Wolf. Would have made the matchup a lot easier for me. Definitely going to get in a second one. I don't know what I'm going to cut. Maybe Samurai. 1 Castel. Massive power house. The fact that this detaches 2 materials is what is MVP. 1 Giga X. With 7 monsters, you would think that you wouldn't want to search for more of them. This is sometimes where you just don't have access to the last piece. So this card gets you there. Karen Gorgon, the ability to redirect things, never came up, but it's good. And then the big Utopia package. I made this a lot. Might actually consider a second one. I think there was one scenario that it might have arisen. Didn't make it though. But being able to have this in there. Also, this was in the ABC matchup with skill drain on the field. 25-10 with no access to Buster for a couple of turns. Really puts in work. You'd be actually really shocked. This 10 is very relevant. And then of course, 3 Dragon Busters. As I've said, the premises on this deck, if this hits the field turn 3 against Zoo, you automatically blow out your opponent. Like, it's so disgusting. Side deck, 1 Maxi. Not main decking it because card of demise. Typically sided this in essentially every game that I had the chance to. Same thing with DD Crow. Essentially brought these in every game that we could. I drew Crow 3 times. Only used it once, but the fact that I had the Crow against Invoked, against Zoo, and against the Infernoid matchup, really good. 1 Necro Valley post errata. This card is insane. I won a second one in the side deck. There's nothing else to really say about this. Card just puts so much pressure on the Infernoid players. It's nuts. 3 Twin Twisters. Definitely considering another Spawn Trap Destruction Outlet. 3 was very good though. Typically we'd side out a lot of the bad cards in here. Like in terms of your Paleo matchup, like you're probably ditching these. You might consider this. Probably going to ditch a Mirror Force or so. You're definitely getting rid of this. So there's a lot of things that come in and out in certain matchups. 1 more board wipe. I played 1 Imperial Order. I brought this in on the premises that the anti-spells were coming in as well. Actually, this killed me in 1 matchup. I did do this to stop a Regeki. That was going to be detrimental to me. But you can't turn this off, and I was only considering it because of the one scenario that it would be relevant, and unfortunately I didn't have access to the last piece that we needed. It was also the same game I needed to draw the last of the big Megazords, and we didn't get there. And then last but not least, 3 Imperial Iron Wall. Yes, this does shut off your Buster Dragon, and no, you should have a Buster Dragon on the field before you're flipping this. This is kind of one of those cards that's a preventative measure to make sure that your opponent doesn't just shit on you. So, but final notes here. I am going to link the original deck profile down below from Chili, that way you guys can check it out as well. Definitely though, last minute thoughts. The deck was a lot of fun. Second Diamond Dire would have been good. I can't make up for the grasslook screener matchup. Your opponent milling 3 absolute blackjack. There's nothing you can do about that. Losing to Cyframes, he opened up the trap card, the discard banish every turn. Sadly, there's not much you can do about that. The ABC, the mirror, like the pure ABC build should but beat this variant every time. And then of course the last loss was to my own May. Should have not did the Dragon Buster to get ogred, but the losses that happened, there's just nothing I can do about them. It's not within the deck's flaws, it's just those decks are inherently better, and what this deck was designed to do. Playing against Zoo, if I could play Zoo all day, I'd be good, but we are in a new format now, so there are a lot of changes and things that will come along. So guys, this is my profile. Hope you guys aren't like, oh my god, 5-4 sucks. Well, yeah, it does, but alright guys, I'm out. Later.
That's not all, folks. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my Cardfight Vanguard channel, VanCole40. You guys will get an insight in our playtesting sessions. And please check out the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. That way you guys can follow the House of Champions and MCole40 interactions. Please check out MCole Games for all of your guys' trading card game needs. And if you guys enjoyed this content, please check out my Patreon in the description. Every bit helps to the creation of these videos. One step at a time in improvement, and that's the goal of this channel. Alright guys, have a good time, and thanks for watching.